And I did think like she was also like somewhat upset because like there was the power outage. Oh, like you didn't come look for me, but like
It's
it was pitch black. You know what I mean? I'm not Vin Diesel. I can't see you in the dark.
Well, man, who would have thunk it, man? The dudes from the Fade podcast watching musicals, dude. I don't know, man. It was Sergio's doing. Okay, that's what I would like to say here. If it were not for Sergio, shout out to Serge. We probably would not have done this, but the Fade podcast goes musical, man. We go musical. We checked out In the Heights, which was directed by Lin-Manuel. Oh, why am I? Oh, I'm sorry. Not directed by Lin-Manuel. I guess written by him. But directed by John Chu, if I'm to say this correctly. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, he I guess developed sort of the story of it. I don't know. I think that they might have just like put his face on it and was like, yeah, he had something to do with it. It's like, I don't know if he had that much.
If I'm correct, it was based on a musical like stage play, and he was the like he did the concepting for like the musical, but like it was this screenplay was written by, it says like
Chiara Allegra Huds.
Great name.
Yeah, there you go.
Great name. If I could say it right. I mean, either way, it's a great name, but
for sure.
I wish I could say it the right way.
Yeah. And so look, let's forget all the little details there, or not little details. It's the fucking people who created it. But but let's just jump into it, man. What did we think about In the Heights? What's your fresh out of the theater? You didn't go to the theater to see this. What's your fresh out of the theater reaction to In the Heights?
So, I'll be honest. I wasn't too keen on watching this particular project or reviewing it here on the podcast. Musicals and like singing song and dance shit is just like not really my cup of tea. Like I don't watch American Idol. I don't watch So You Think You Can Dance. I don't watch America's Got Talent. I never watched Glee. Or whatever other singing, songy dance shows and movies like were out, right? So this is definitely the first like musical that I've watched. I didn't watch Cats or Rent or any of that shit. But I was pleasantly surprised because I think what was so charming about this particular film is that there was very much a story there. And even though sometimes the song and dance numbers kind of threw me off, I never lost track of like the story itself, the characters and like the journey that these characters are going on. That was a consistent theme. It was, I think they told a coherent story in this, the theatrics of it all, the song and the dance thing was a huge part of it. But I think, like, again, there was rich story here. I really enjoyed this particular film more than I thought I would. I would never watch it again. Fuck that. But it was good.
Yeah. Look, I was pleasantly surprised, man. About midway through the movie, I was just like, oh, am I tearing up a little bit? Is this a tear I have developed in my did never reach full on crying status, but I identified with a lot of the themes that they touched on in the movie. I will say though, for as much as they did right with it, they did do a lot of things that were either kind of puzzling or just as if this sat in some sort of executive's like a Hollywood executive's office, and he was just like, he put his like touch on it, or they put their touch on it, and then kind of took out some of like the authenticity of it. Although I guess how authentic can you really make a fucking musical? I don't know. But there were like a few moments, and they do have like a lot of like cheesy moments that were just like, all right, guys, like let's not lean too heavily into that kind of shit. But all in all, man, I really enjoyed it, man. I really did enjoy it. The first thing I do want to know is, did you see Aaron Donald? He clearly was in the movie.
No.
Yeah,
Aaron Donald was in this movie?
He was in the club he was trying to talk to what was her name? Was it Vanessa? Was that her name?
Lies.
No, I'm just joking. He looks slammed like Aaron Donald. I was like, is that Aaron Donald right there? Reigns losing his mind right now.
And this is when they went to like that Latin salsa club and they were all dancing. Yeah. I think I like kind of have that indication of who you're talking about, like the really like buff guy who's in the club. Yeah, that dude. Okay, yeah,
it's definitely Aaron Donald.
I was about to say, like, did I miss something here?
He was definitely wearing a Rams fitted. Yeah. But yeah, look, they touched on a lot of themes in this movie, right? One of them being, or a few of them being, dreamers. You know, and gentrification. They talk about, going off to college and dealing with some of the scenarios that might develop from that. They touched on a lot of shit. What do you think was the thing that resonated with you with it? Like, what was the moment where you're like, all right, I'm feeling this shit. Like I see where they're coming from, or like, you know what I mean? Like I have a couple of those specific moments, but I'll let you shoot.
I think for me, one of the things that resonated the most was the relationship between Leslie Grace, who plays Nina Rosario, and her father, Kevin Rosario, played by Jimmy Smits. Obviously father-daughter relationship.
Before you jump into that father-daughter relationship scenario, they did try to set Jimmy Schmidt up because they tried to show him singing and it just was not working. It did not look like he was even remotely singing that song. Yeah, like it looked like he was missing his like the cue to sing. Like it looked like he was just like, oh wait, it's my line. It did not look believable even remotely.
His first scene where he's like singing, like he walks into the coffee shop and he's getting his coffee in the newspaper. It just like I was like, especially if you know him from other films and TV shows, you're just like, yeah, you know, I mean, this is not it. This is not it. But he's a really good actor. I've always enjoyed many of like the TV shows and movies he's been in. But again, you know, so that like father-daughter relationship of like what it's like, especially being in like an immigrant, right? Like what it's like to come to this country as an immigrant and have to make certain sacrifices, right? Like, you know, I didn't go to college, but I started a business. You know, his character didn't graduate from high school or go to college, but he started a business so his daughter could, right? Mm-hmm. And then, his daughter, I know, like, you know, she felt guilty because her father was like selling the family business so that she could go to college, and like the guilt that surrounds sometimes having to, sometimes being the first in your family, right, to do something, and like the guilt that may come with you having to leave what feels like or what is home in order to like pursue your ambitions, right? Mm-hmm. But I like how he kind of like, I like what happened with this particular storyline. He was like, you know what, you're on a mission. You can bring us along with you and pursue your ambitions. Like I did everything I could do as a father to prepare you for this. So I thought that was just a really like interesting moment that resonated with me, and I feel like could resonate with a lot of people who are either immigrants to this country or like the first timers, right? First people in their family to go to college, first people in their family to leave the neighborhood in pursuit of whatever their ambitions might be.
Yeah.
The second one I thought, which was really great, was like the idea of like home is what you make it, right? Mm-hmm. So the Usnavi, I guess they called him Navi in the movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Played by Anthony Ramos. His character, one of his ambitions was like return home to Puerto Rico, I believe, and buy his father's old, I guess it was like a bar or cafe or what's it called? Bodega, right? Yeah. And like restore it and kind of like restart and rebuild his father's dream, right? So the whole movie, he's like, I want to go back home. I want to make it home. And what he came to realize at the end of the film was like, you know what, like I am home. I've been home the entire time. I can fulfill my ambitions or my dreams here. Yeah, and a lot of people struggle with that.
Well, and that was the interesting thing about the movie, right? They set up both him and Nina's character. So they had Navi and then they had Nina, right? And they both basically had the same storyline, but in reverse, right? So Navi was in New York, but wanted to leave. Nina had left New York, but wanted to come home. And by the end of the movie, they had, again, flip-flop those roles where Nina is the person who's figuring out like, oh, hey, like maybe I can make a difference by going to Stanford. And Navi's like, no, this is home. Now the things I will take issue with, one of the things I will take issue with of the film is the whole swerve of, and spoiler alerts, I guess if you haven't fucking watched the movie, is the whole swerve of him being in New York. It's like, yo, come on, man, that's cheap. That's cheap. Like for them to show them on the beach and like we think, oh, like he's in Puerto Rico, you know, and then to have it, oh, like they're just in the bodega. Nah,
No,
nah.
I thought that was I thought that was tasteful visualization, right? It's
no, absolutely. No. I will not accept this. I will not.
To me, what that felt like was like bringing your dream to wherever you were, right? Like he couldn't quite be on the beach in Puerto Rico, but like they made the shop at the end, like they made the shop that same destination where he had the mural of his father's beach in the shop. So I thought it was tasteful. The visualization made sense to me. It hit.
So the thing is, it made sense as far as like the visualization goes. Like, and I got what they were trying to do. What I'm saying is you don't have to just blatantly lie to us, right? Like, so the only reason why we all thought he was in Puerto Rico was because of the fact that they were on like a beach and it looked like they were in Puerto Rico, you know, it looked like he was, you know, he had like a little shop set up in Puerto Rico, right? They could have found ways to do it where like, I thought maybe they were going to be like, oh, like maybe he's like on like they're like in New York, but like they're on like a beach or whatever. And he set up like a new shop, that, like, you know, just something, right? But it's just like, well, that's just a straight up lie. Like you just like and the movie was kind of strange in that how like meta they got with some of the shit that was happening, like the singing. Like we were talking about it right before the podcast came on, how like they started the fucking like moonwalk on the side of the fucking building, and the little kids look at them like, is that people? Are the Avengers real? What the fuck? Why are they walking on my window right now? You know, so it was things like that I thought was like, nah, like I could have done without that. Like if your whole idea is to talk about these real sort of serious issues and talk about them in a real way, even though it's a musical, you don't kind of undercut what you're saying by giving me some shit that's like fantastical. You know what I mean? Like that, because now I don't know what to do with that. This real shit that you're actually giving me is now mixed in with some of this other shit that, you know,
listen, I did mind it. I thought it was done tastefully enough, right? It's like when I buy the Peloton, I know I'm not really biking through fucking the mountains in Naples. You know, I know I'm not on the beach in southern France biking. I know that, but sell it to me a little bit, make it look good. I think that's what they did there.
If you're a listener of this podcast, I need you to take a shot every time Arain uses some crazy ass analogy to try to prove
that made perfect sense.
Okay, if you say so.
Listen, what we need to be telling our listeners is if you have a Peloton, don't let your kids near it.
How did you get
how about that?
Okay.
Listen, I want our listeners to be safe and your children too.
So one of the other things I really did fuck with from the movie was Navi's relationship with oh man, and I'm gonna forget her name here. I'm sorry, Abuela. And I thought that was probably the most genuine relationship that I believed, you know, in the whole movie, because they were two people who just took care of one another, you know, and they always looked out for one another. And even though she wasn't really his mother or grandmother, she played that role in his life. You know, when you're growing up in a neighborhood like this, you know, that's what it becomes. The neighborhood raises you. It's not just your, you know, your blood family that does, you know, that everybody around you raises you, you know. And so I really did enjoy that relationship. That being said,
yeah,
look,
and you kind of saw that taken into Navi's relationship with Sonny.
Where now he's taking care of his little cousin, you know, and really going to bat for him, and that was, and I'm glad you said that, because that is, you can see the direct translation of that, right? So you have and sorry for the beeping, that's I guess the garbage guys are getting the garbage, but
make sure you give him that hat you're wearing.
Oh, okay. The Under Armour guy has a problem with Adidas, I guess.
Is that a okay? Never mind. I thought that was your Packers hat. That's why.
What? It's a black hat. Why would it be? Never mind. Doesn't matter.
I'm colorblind.
Can't see the color black. What color am I? I don't know.
Who knows? Everything's black and gray.
So you see him getting the where she has the winning lottery ticket, and that's another place where they lied to us. He said, "Oh, we never found the lottery ticket again." Bitch, you found the lottery ticket. Like, what do you mean? Like, he told his kid, his daughter, like, nah, we just never saw that winning lottery ticket again. But at the end of the movie, he has the winning lottery ticket. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that's just a complete swerve for like no reason. You don't even have to lie to us, but you did.
I did peep that, but I mean, you never know who's listening. IRS, listen, we're trying to evade taxes here. You gotta be, even around your kids, you gotta watch what you say.
Yeah, you never know who's snitching these days. You gotta be careful. So you can see how he gives Abuela gives him this lottery ticket. She gives it after she passes. He realizes that she left it for him, and then he does it, like he doesn't even think about like cashing it out and spending it himself or all that other shit. He's like, no, I want to hook Sonny up. I want to make sure Sonny's good. Because so Sonny was in he was undocumented, and so and look, complete side note here. Look, man, it just never fucking. It never makes sense to me, right? If you're talking about people who come to like people who would be against like immigrants, right? Whether they're documented or undocumented, right? People who are just like, when they come in, they have to come in the right way. That's what you hear from people all the time, right? But then you have these dreamers who they were essentially born in the US, right? They might not have literally been born in the US, but they've grown up here since like the age of like 1, 2, 3, right? At that point, this is their home. Like they literally don't know anywhere else, So it's like, well, how can you then be like, no, but you got to do it the right way? It's like, I never had the fucking opportunity to do it the right way. So what the fuck do you want from me? And how they're not just made US citizens is mind-boggling.
Because the reality of it's not as much about like their immigration or even their undocumented status. I mean, it is definitely a racial thing, right? Like it is these Mexican immigrants. They even if they were born in this country, right? So, well, your parents didn't come here the right way, so you can't be here either. But we are French or Canadian or Italian immigrants treated with the same aggression. Or those children of parents who came here undocumented, are they treated with the same aggression? Usually the answer to that question is no, because the conversation for the most part is really about like Mexican immigrants, right? Yeah. So that's really what it's about.
So yeah, I mean, one would think because we do share a border with Mexico, but yeah, you don't really see people having that smoke for the Canadians.
Yeah,
it's like, oh no, whatever. You drift across the border, it's whatever.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, can we interest you in some pancakes? Bring some maple syrup, please.
Very true.
But the one of the other things I wanted to touch on is, look, man, we need to talk about Vanessa real quick, okay? We need to have this.
Let's talk about Vanessa. By the way, Vanessa played by Melissa Barrera. Barrera.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So two things real quick.
Let's talk about Vanessa.
And we got to keep this brief because we're running low on time. But look, two things with her. One, I hate when they show characters and they talk about doing shit, but they never actually show them doing the shit that they're talking about. They talked about her being an artist the entire time. Never really got to see a goddamn thing until the very end. We did get to see some stuff at the very end, but then it's just like, wait, couldn't you guys have shown us at least something earlier to let us know that this is the shit that she does, right? And then on top of that, a whole scene at the club made, and I only am frustrated with this because it's a real life thing, right? If a woman does something, and I don't mean to generalize here, but I'm going to generalize. Fuck it.
Oh, Tuna, you're about to get canceled. You're about to get.
I probably am. Look, but she was in the club. She danced with like about 10 different dudes, right? Nothing wrong with that. It's all good. It's all cool. Navi, to make her kind of jealous, dances with one other woman. And she's upset at him, saying that he didn't spend time dancing with her. And that's the whole reason why they kind of had a falling out. And it's like, did I fucking miss something here? Like, did you were just dancing like it's like you had a picket sign that said, hey, Will dance. Come on. Yeah, she danced with like every fucking dude in the club and then was somehow mad at him for dancing with one woman for like 2 seconds. And he promptly like backed away because she was wilding out on him. Like, I was like,
yeah, I did. I noticed that too. I did think that was bullshit. I'm like, yo, she literally danced with like 10 dudes at the club that night, and he danced with the one. And I did think like she was also like somewhat upset because like there was a power outage. Oh, like you didn't come look for me, but like, you know, it was pitch black. You know what I mean? I'm not Vin Diesel. I can't see you in the dark. So
this is pitch black.
Yeah, we got to link up outside.
Do I look like I was altered by alien DNA or some shit?
Yeah.
To fucking be nocturnal? What is this?
So
shit?
yeah, that definitely was kind of bullshit. And to your point, I wish they would have maybe had time to venture down. Maybe like including like what her big dream was, like as a.
I'm still confused.
Incorporating that into the storyline a bit greater. I did love the fact that at the end of it, they were able to consummate both of their dreams and ambitions, right? You know, like he was able to bring his father's dream, you know, the bodega to Brooklyn, to like, what is it? Is it Brooklyn Heights? Yeah. Is it Brooklyn Heights?
Is that in Brooklyn?
No, Washington Heights.
Yeah, Washington Heights. There you go.
So he was able to bring his father's dream to Washington Heights, and you know she didn't have to go downtown to like make her dream of becoming like a clothing fashion designer come to life. She can still do her design. She can still create her Shopify business account or become an Amazon seller but like display her work in the shop.
Yeah, well, and that was another thing. Like her whole storyline revolved around her moving. Like that was like the only thing. Like the time that they spent with her, like trying to find a new place, and I guess they were just trying to touch as many different topics as they possibly could. But it was just like, no, just show us why she's trying to be like a designer or like her talent in doing that. Like have that be on display, not her just searching for another apartment and be like, I'm an artist. Like for being the person who's like kind of like the most upset throughout the entire movie. Like show why she's upset, right? Like if you're great and you're just not being recognized, all right, show us that. But don't just be like, she's upset, right? And then for what? Like we haven't seen a goddamn thing. Like I can't hire you on site if I haven't seen your fucking artwork. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this shit?
Also, I mean, how irresponsible of her. Like if you're applying to lease a commercial or a residential space, like of course you're gonna have to have proof of income, bank statements, things like that. You can't just walk in and say, yeah, I can afford the place. Like, no, they're gonna want to see proof. Like, do you have enough monthly income to pay rent?
Well,
yeah, she fucked up.
They did do it a little ham-fistedly, but it is a real thing for people of color to like walk into a spot and be like, yeah, like, I'm working as like a server or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if this place is for you, champ. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is a thing, but yeah, it's common fucking practice. You gotta show some fucking W-2s. You gotta show some income, on your tax returns. You gotta show something. Okay?
Yeah. Like, you can't say I keep my money in a Nike box. I swear I have it. Just trust me. Like, no, that's not how it works. But yeah, to your point, the message there did still land, right? It's like a lot of times you come in, if you're, a minority, right? Like whether it's a woman, a person of color, sometimes you'll get overlooked for that, that like white couple comes in and it's like, oh yeah, of course you can sign the lease today, right? Yeah. But yeah, that message did land still.
Yeah. Look, so in summation, I would say that In the Heights was good, pleasantly speaking. I was pleasantly surprised by my enjoyment of it. Again, it was what it was. It is a musical, and so you're going to get your usual musical weird shit. But I think in totality, though, I think I enjoyed myself way more than I found myself not enjoying myself. So I would say it was good. Check it out if you got the time. Did you have anything else on that? Because if not, we're gonna move ourselves quite on here. No, nothing major. I agree again. And coming from me, like, again, I was
definitely not about this movie at all. At the end, I really did enjoy the film. This was a good project. When I watched it again, not really, just because it's not my taste, but I'm glad that I saw it. So, I'd recommend you check it out too.
The real question is, would this make you want to see the new West Side Story when that comes out? Because that's coming out.
No, sir.
All right, that was affirmative. That was very. Yeah. That was very.
We don't need to talk about it. It's a simple no.
No, Maria. No.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Moving on.